Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Matt Horn
is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, neighbor. You see anything weird outside your house, you tell me, all right?
Hey, Matt, it's Jamison Jones. I thought we were going to talk today. I wanted to tell you all about The Wretched. It's the super scary, intense, supernatural thriller horror movie. Did I cram that up into enough genres? Call me back.
On the line, we have Jamison Jones talking to us. From where are you talking to us from, Jamison?
I'm talking to you from Los Angeles, California.
Is that the locked down Los Angeles, California?
It's just the lockdown version of Los Angeles, California. You can get anywhere in LA right now in 15 minutes.
Whereas before it took an hour.
An hour, no matter where you were going.
Yet again, we are talking about COVID-19. COVID-19, which is obviously the elephant in the room. What's it been like for you, Jamison?
Well, I have to say, while there are frustrating aspects of it, it's been nice to be home with the kids and do all this amazing cooking and work together. And having The Wretched come out right now, we thought was going to be the worst timing ever, and it turned out to be the greatest timing ever. It's in 25 drive-ins across the country and has been number 1 at the box office for 2 straight weekends. Let's make it 3!
I was going to say, it's not really got any competition, has it?
That's right. It's easy to be number 1 when you got no competition.
There's been such things during this time as self-isolation and social distancing. What's it been like for you keeping 2 meters away from everybody?
Oh, that's always easy for me. I don't like to come in contact with people anyway, so no, not to poke fun, but that part of it is a little bit weird because we come in contact with people all day long, even whether we want to or not. And so trying to keep 2 meters away, or over here we say 6 feet, is kind of an interesting thing. And it starts to make me feel as though the other people are somehow diseased and I have to stay away from them. At least that's the impression that I feel like I'm putting upon them. So I always feel a little bit bad when somebody gets too close and I move away.
Are you fully stocked up? Very
stocked up. I got stocked up, the day we went into lockdown. I kind of went out to some of these superstores and got stocked up with food, and it wasn't totally necessary. But I do have to say, shopping at some of our favorite places, you have to wait in line for an hour, so it's nice to be stocked up.
I don't think we're going to be out of this within the next 6 months. So we've got 6 months of this still to go. Once this is all over and done, Jameson, where do you think the industry is going to be?
Well, I think the industry is going to be in a weird and new environment where the dynamic that we're used to is going to be completely different. I think everybody's just so used to jumping on planes and crowding together and doing what they do on set. It's just huge groups of people. So it'll be interesting to see what needs to change in order for this to all work again. And not to mention, not just the industry itself as far as working is concerned, but as far as the audience is concerned. What do we do to cram all these people in theaters? And is it all going to turn into streaming and VOD services? And what happens to live theater? Does that go away completely? Or do we find a way to share that in a new format, a new medium? Or will we go back to something that feels somewhat normal?
It's interesting that you mentioned about the theatre. I was on YouTube the other day and I found that you could watch full theatre productions that have been filmed by the theatre companies.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the National Theatre, the Old Globe, some of the theaters here, even South Coast Repertory, which is a theater that's somewhat local to Los Angeles, they have done these shows, some of them in the past that they've recorded, and now they're releasing to subscribers, and then they're releasing to the general public. The National Theatre does one every Thursday, which is wonderful. I just watched Frankenstein with Johnny Lee Miller and Benedict Cumberbatch. What an amazing production. And they shot that in a way that felt very visceral. It wasn't a camera in the back where you're seeing the heads of the audience. They shot that in a way that really made you feel like you were a part of the show. Some of these other shows, like the one at South Coast Rep, they did. I think they took the audience out and they shot it. And those people that had tickets, they distributed the video to them on some platform or some coded Vimeo link or something.
Well, the reason why we've got you here is because of The Wretched.
Yes.
Which came out 1st of May, didn't it?
It did, yes. Well, no, it opened here. I think it opens there today. Is that right?
I was actually going to say last Friday.
It opened somewhere else on the 15th. I can't remember. But yeah, we did the 1st, you guys the 8th. And it's available on VOD, but also in drive-in movie theaters.
What's the general plot line surrounding the film?
Well, the movie, from my perspective, is about a young man who comes to live with his father because of the separation of his parents. The mother can't really deal with him anymore, so she sends him my way. I play Liam Shaw, who's John Paul Howard's father in the movie. And he's a bit of a troubled teen, so when he starts telling me stories about what's happening at the neighbor's house, I don't believe him. Come to find out, the things that are happening at the neighbor's house are actually true and worse than anyone could ever imagine. We come in contact with a 1,000-year-old witch that we have to somehow send back to wherever she came.
If you were sort of thinking about it literally, what films would you say it sort of is a bit like?
Well, there's a lot of similarities of Rear Window. I think it was the LA Times that compared it to a lot of the Spielberg stuff. There's definitely some of that E.T. going on in there. Fright Night, there's a little bit of that going on in there. It's kind of a creature feature mixed with Rear Window. There's a lot of Ben, who is my son in the movie, spying on the neighbors, and weird things are happening, and he's sort of getting a half part of it, a half story that he's then trying to investigate and break open so he can figure out what's happening to these kids next door.
How did you get involved in the project in the first place?
I had met these guys. We're all Michiganders, they like to call us. I had met these guys through another friend of ours who was from Michigan, and I had done a reading of a different show for her, and these guys contacted me when they were doing a reading of this film, and I just fell in love with this part. To me, it felt like Jaws in the sense that it was a very character-driven story. It was all about developing these characters, and it's not till that third act where we really get to the meat of what's going on with the creature, I'll call it. I was really drawn to the script, and I was drawn to this character in particular, and so when they started casting, I threw my hat in the ring. I knew that they had potential to get bigger, better names, but lucky for me, they liked what I did, and they liked what I had to offer, and they offered me the part, and off we went to Michigan to shoot it for 5 weeks.
Just seen on IMDb. I don't know why someone would put it as trivia, but I think it's interesting trivia nonetheless. It's told me that this production, The Wretched, was a non-union shoot.
It wasn't a non-union shoot for the actors.
Oh.
I believe there were elements of the crew that were non-union, but you can ask Drew Pearce about that. Ask him about the baby, too. That would be a good question for Drew Pearce.
The baby?
The baby in the movie. Ask him about the baby.
It's not like The Exorcist, is it?
It's not. For a parent, it's a worse nightmare than The Exorcist, but it's an interesting little plot point in the movie, the story with the baby.
Right, okay. That's slightly disturbing.
It is. Oh, it's very disturbing.
Okay, I'll write that down somewhere and ask him about the baby later on. So obviously, when they do singular films, people go, oh, this was so good, this deserves a sequel. Does it have scope for a potential sequel?
I think so. When you get to the end, again, without spoiling anything or giving anything away, you'll see where there's potential. And it's an interesting story, and it's a really kind of crazy, dynamic, dramatic creature. So the thing about the wretch or the witch or the hag itself is what it does to people and the way that it masks itself. So it's kind of fun because a lot of different actors actually get to become the creature throughout the story. And there's something really intriguing about that. And from my perspective, something really amazing about making a sequel, because it just changes. The dynamic of the character changes from story to story, from character to character, from person to person. So I think there's absolutely a potential for that.
Found footage films and possession films are basically done quite a bit in Hollywood. How would you say this is kept fresh?
Well, this is not found footage or possession at all. I'll protect the story a little bit, but a possession film, it's as if something has possessed the body. With this creature is in the body, so it feels maybe a little bit more like Alien than anything else. The creature takes over the body, and then eventually the body rots, and it has to get a new host. Uh-oh, did I spoil it?
It's a bit like The Host then, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit like that, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously, what was it like working with the cast and crew on set?
I had the time of my life. I mean, we are in one of the most beautiful places in the country, right on Lake Michigan. JP and I shared this beautiful beach house and had such a great time creating this father and son dynamic together. The Pierce brothers are the most enthusiastic directors I've ever worked with. I mean, to the point where we shot 26 straight hours in a row, and they were just as excited about their movie on hour 1 as they were on hour 25. So it was kind of amazing. And the producers put together quite an incredible team, too. I think these guys have years and years of experience, and so they can bring to the table some of the things that less experienced producers can't, because they have a lot of favors that they cash in for a movie like this. They work on big studio pictures and get these crews to come and work for them, and they get a wonderful paycheck, and then they feel like they owe the producer a favor, and so they come in and work on a smaller movie like this, and so you're getting the same quality that you would on a big studio film. And our director of photography, Connor Murphy, shot this thing so beautifully, working with these anamorphic lenses and just the lighting and the ambiance that they were able to create was pretty stellar for a movie this size.
Obviously, you've mentioned the baby, which we still don't really know what that's referring to.
Yes. Oh, you'll find out.
Are there any sort of funny anecdotes you can share about the production of the film?
I have one kind of interesting story that involves the stunt coordinator, Danny Ray. I suggested that I do my own stunt, falling down the stairs, and at the base of the stairs was Connor Murphy, the brilliant cinematographer that I just mentioned, with, I don't know, couple $100,000 camera with another $100,000 lens on top of it. And as I came tumbling down the stairs for the first stunt, Danny flew up the stairs and caught me. And I said, no, I totally had it. And he said, no, you didn't, mate. And I was about to fall down the stairs on top of Connor, probably break my head open, break my arm, and kill our DP in the process. So thank God for those stunt coordinators that can tell when you got it and when you don't got it.
Any other funny anecdotes?
J.P. Howard and I decided as a father-son bonding experience to go sailing in Lake Michigan, and I'm an avid sailor and he has very little experience, so I thought I would teach him how to sail, and we almost capsized the boat in, I don't know, that must have been 60-degree water, so that was exciting. I also taught him how to drive stick. Look at that. That wasn't funny. It was funny if you were there, but more fun to be there than to talk about.
You've got to tell us the baby anecdote.
Well, there's a baby in the movie that the neighbors have, and the baby ends up disappearing. At least that's what J.P. Howard, the kid who plays Ben, thinks. And you want me to spoil it?
Yeah, go on.
The baby gets eaten by the witch, and the baby is actually Drew Pearce's kid.
Ha.
So he'll be excited to talk about that when you guys chat. There's some sequences in the movie that are a little gruesome, but I would say for the most part, like I said, it reminds me of Jaws in the sense that there's a lot of anticipation. There's a lot of buildup. There's a lot of these little moments where we see something and we don't know what we saw. And then we hear something and we think we saw what we saw, and then we don't know. And then we start to think maybe Ben's a little bit crazy. And as it unfolds, we get to points in the story where it does get a bit more visually intense. But for the most part, I would say 80% of this movie is very watchable for the faint of heart, because it's all about story, it's all about character, it's all about plot, it's all about that developing tension, and then we get to something that's a little bit scarier. And the effects, the practical effects, the visual effects, the creature, the makeup stuff is just unbelievable. Eric Porn, yes, that's his name. Eric Porn was the special effects guy who did the makeup for the creature, and he is good. He's one of the top in the industry. So, and again, another Michigan guy. So I guess that's how we got him.
Well, let's talk a bit about you, Jamison, you yourself.
Yeah.
What made you want to get into acting in the first place?
You know, when I was a kid, my parents were avid theater goers and avid movie goers. And so I got introduced to a lot of stuff early on. And it wasn't like we were seeing these kind of art house things every once in a while. But they would take me to the theater, and they would take me to the symphony, and they would take me to the movies, and we would go every Sunday and see a movie after church. And I just fell in love with the idea of storytelling and being able to sort of step outside of my world, step outside of who I was, and take on the issues and problems and idiosyncrasies of another human being. Get in their skin for a while, try it on, and see what it's like. And that was fascinating to me. And so I think that's what triggered it. That's what started it. And I realized that it required a great deal of training. So I did that. I went to college for it and did a master's degree at the American Conservatory Theater, and ended up doing a lot of theater initially, and decided to come back to Los Angeles while I was young and ambitious and try and tackle this industry here.
What advice would you give to anyone wanting to pursue a career in the industry?
My advice to young actors would be to learn how to do it before you pursue it. Well, look at that. It rhymed. I made it rhyme. I think a lot of people come here thinking that you just kind of jump into something, and if you're young and handsome, it'll work out. And there are a few cases where that does happen, but 9.5 times out of 10, it requires a great deal of work, a great deal of tenacity and talent. And if you don't know what you're doing, and if you don't know how to get where you need to get to, both technically and emotionally, then you're going to fall short, and you're not going to have a career that has longevity. And so I think the learning is really important.
Well, I always love talking about old stuff. I'm a 90s historian, would you believe? I have this somewhere to hand, like on the side of my desk, because I knew this was going to come up. You were in one of the early LucasArts games, Star Wars
Yes.
Rebel Assault 2.
I was, yes.
This was in the time before they did the prequels and obviously the reboot now.
Yeah, I think that was back in 95 or 96 or something like that. I played kind of the young Luke Skywalker character they called Rookie One. We were fortunate, though, to have all of the costumes at our disposal. Each one had its guard, which was kind of interesting. Each costume had someone that was assigned to protect it. So I got to wear some of the original Stormtrooper costumes, and somebody was there playing Darth Vader, and it was pretty exciting at the time to participate in that. And I think still to this day, that's probably what more people have recognized me from than anything else.
And obviously we need to mention, a year later, you were in a Top Gun game.
I was, yeah. James Tolkien, I think, he was in that with us, and got to work with some of the original cast from that, which was really fun too. I played a character called Stinger, which was sort of like the Val Kilmer character, kind of the jerk on the set. But it's what I've done my whole career, and it's been super fun. That's why The Wretched was such a refreshing piece, because I play a really nice dad. Obviously,
you've been in a number of different projects. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which actors and actresses have been your favourites to work with, and why? And who would you like to work with in the future?
Well, I worked on a show called Burn Notice and worked with Bruce Campbell, and I had the time of my life working with him. He is such a fun actor to work with, and so playful and so engaged and so interested in just having fun on the set with what you're doing as far as the character-driven moments. And so I had a great time working with him. Tom Everett Scott, we did a movie together a couple of years ago called Collusions, and just a wonderfully collaborative actor as well. Steve Culp was in that movie, who's been an actor that I've kind of been in contact with my whole career, and he's one of those guys that drives me to do what I do. Who would I want to work with? I would have to say Anthony Hopkins would probably be number one on the list. Jason Bateman, that's a good one. And there's an actor named Jürgen Prochnow. Do you know this guy? He did a movie called Das Boot. Just a wonderful actor. There's three good ones.
We should also mention at this point that you also had a reoccurring role in General Hospital.
Yeah, I've done a couple of them. I did General Hospital, and I did, and they all run together, Days of Our Lives, I think it was. But I was on General Hospital for a much longer period of time. I think I was on there for 6 or 8 months or something like that, yeah.
I do have to ask the question, unfortunately. What was your sort of character plot line?
I played a character named Will something, and I stole Sonny Corinthos' babies and held them hostage in some abandoned church, and then I got what was coming to me after this character's named Jason, I can't remember the actor's name, beat me up in a hotel room and pointed a gun at my head, and it was just this big dramatic finish. So, yeah, that was my plot line.
I will say one thing about General Hospital. Of all the people that I've actually interviewed regarding General Hospital, most of the stuff that happens isn't actually in the hospital.
That's true. The stuff that happens will send you to the hospital, but yeah, there's so much that happens outside the hospital. I don't think I was ever in the hospital the whole time I was on the show.
In the UK, we've got EastEnders, which is in the East End, hence EastEnders. Casualty, which is set in a hospital, yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you've got stuff like Neighbours, which is set in a street because of Neighbours, and then you've got General Hospital, which is just all over the place. It makes no sense whatsoever.
They don't want to be limited by the hospital.
Are there any roles that you haven't done yet that you would like to do?
There are a lot of stage roles that I would love to still do. Some I haven't reached the age yet. I did a wonderful production of the Scottish play, Macbeth. I'll say it because I'm not in the theater, a few years ago. And I'd love the opportunity to do that one again. I felt like I touched on a lot of stuff that I wanted to deal with and play with. And I'd love an opportunity to hit that one again. Obviously, King Lear comes many moons from now. There's so much that I would like to do in film and television as well. I haven't really had the opportunity to play one of those great cop characters that has a dark past and weird little chinks in the armor that make him both a danger to himself and those around him, but ultimately he's trying to be good. So that would be a fun character for me.
Well, obviously you mentioned about theatre, and we did mention about the Star Wars and Top Gun games. Would you ever consider doing something like mocap?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, there's a wonderful video out on the internet of Benedict Cumberbatch doing his mocap, and I watched that and go, oh my God, that would be so exhilarating to do some of that work. I have lots of friends that do a lot of those kinds of things. My friend Chad Collins does I can't remember the names of these games now, but does a lot of that stuff and has really, really enjoyed it, some of the military games.
I'm looking it up now. Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yes.
He's probably going to ring you now and say, how the hell did you not know?
That's right.
Call of Duty. Well, it's time for the 1 minute plug. So here we go. It's a 1 minute plug for you, Jamison, to plug The Wretched and anything else you've got coming up.
Well, yes, please. If you're anywhere near a drive-in theater that has The Wretched playing, go see it so that we can be number one at the drive-in 3 weeks in a row. It's also available on VOD, whichever platform you tend to frequent. It's available there. Again, it's called The Wretched. You can follow me at Real Jamison Jones or JamisonJones.com. There's all sorts of places that you can follow the work that I'm doing. I have a new movie coming out this year called Fourth Grade with Terry Polo and William Baldwin and Mina Saravi. And so that's going to be exciting as well.
I think I need to mention, though, that it's a comedy and it's about weed.
It is a comedy about weed. About a group of fourth graders that have a brick of weed in their classroom at a private school.
Who thinks these things up?
I don't know. These very innovative filmmakers and writers and directors think this stuff up, and we just get to play in their sandbox, which is exciting as hell.
Well, James, it's been a pleasure interviewing you.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I hope you enjoy The Wretched, and I hope all of your listeners enjoy it as well.
I'll have to talk to Drew about that baby.
Yes, you do. It's a very disturbing situation.
Thanks very much for your time.
All right. Thank you. Good talking to you.
Bye-bye.